Imagine a city waking up to an ordinary summer morning, streets bustling with children going to school, vendors opening their stalls, and families preparing breakfast. Hiroshima, a vibrant city in southern Japan, was full of life on August 6, 1945. The people had no idea that history was about to carve a scar across the very sky. It was during the final days of World War II, a conflict that had already consumed millions of lives. The world had witnessed countless battles, but nothing could prepare Hiroshima for what was coming. In the early hours, the air was calm. A gentle breeze whispered through the streets. Birds chirped. Children laughed. Families went about their routines, unaware that the sun itself would soon rise from a sky of fire. Above, a B-29 bomber named Enola Gay cut through the clouds, its silver frame glinting in the morning light. Piloted by Colonel Paul Tibbets, the aircraft carried a payload unlike anything humanity had ever known. A weapon born from science, secrecy, and desperation, the atomic bomb, code-named Little Boy. Its mission was simple yet terrifying: to unleash unprecedented destruction and force the end of a global war. Inside Hiroshima, the city's residents were oblivious. Some workers hurried to factories, others tended gardens, and a few sat by the riverside, enjoying the quiet of the morning. Children played, not knowing that in a few hours, their world would change forever. The streets were lined with wooden houses, small shops, and temples. Smoke from morning fires mingled with the sun's soft rays, creating a serene, almost picturesque scene. At 8:15 a.m., an intense flash of light lit the sky. The bomb detonated approximately 600 meters above the city, instantly turning the morning into an explosion of unimaginable brilliance. The sky seemed to burn like a second sun, blinding everyone below. Survivors later described a light so bright that it felt as if the world itself had caught fire. Windows shattered before the blast wave reached them. Trees ignited in an instant. People were caught in the fiery embrace of the explosion, their shadows etched onto walls and streets, silent testimonies of the moment the sky turned into the sun. The heat was unbearable. Temperatures soared to thousands of degrees, enough to ignite anything combustible in seconds. Wooden houses vanished. Vehicles melted. The city's very infrastructure crumbled under the force of the blast. Within moments, Hiroshima, a city that had been alive and vibrant just minutes before, became a landscape of devastation. But the physical destruction was only the beginning. People injured by the blast and heat desperately sought shelter, some shielding their faces from the falling debris, others running blindly through streets now turned to ash. Those who survived the initial explosion faced a new horror: radiation. Invisible, insidious, it would continue to claim lives long after the sky had returned to its normal blue. Hospitals were overwhelmed. Medical staff, many themselves injured, struggled to treat the endless flow of wounded. Among the chaos, a few acts of human courage emerged. Neighbors carried the injured to safer areas. Strangers offered water and comfort, despite their own suffering. Amid the devastation, humanity's resilience flickered like a fragile candle in the storm of fire. The Enola Gay had already turned back, leaving behind a city that would never be the same. In those first moments after the bomb, Hiroshima ceased to exist as it had been. Streets, homes, and lives were obliterated in a flash that seemed to freeze time itself. This was not just a military strike, it was a stark demonstration of human ingenuity's double-edged nature, the power to create and the power to destroy. When the initial flash faded, a city was left in ruins. Hiroshima, once vibrant, now resembled a desolate wasteland. Smoke rose from the remnants of buildings. The streets were littered with debris, twisted metal, and charred wood. Survivors stumbled through the destruction, searching desperately for loved ones, for shelter, for answers that no one could give. The human cost was staggering. Tens of thousands were killed instantly. Many more succumbed in the following days and weeks to burns, injuries, and radiation sickness. Families were torn apart. Children were orphaned. The wounded cried out for help, but the hospitals had collapsed, leaving only makeshift care centers struggling against an invisible enemy, the lingering radiation. Stories from that day reveal both the horror and the resilience of the human spirit. A mother clutched her children to her chest as she ran from the burning ruins. A teacher carried students, shielding them from falling debris. Survivors spoke of shadows burned into walls, the silhouettes of people frozen in the moment of the blast, forever immortalized in fire. These shadows became haunting symbols of the day the sky turned into the sun. The psychological impact was as immense as the physical devastation. Survivors lived with trauma, loss, and the constant reminder of humanity's capacity for destruction. Yet, even in the face of such horror, communities began to rebuild. Ruins were cleared. Families searched tirelessly for missing members. Amid the ashes, hope persisted, fragile but unyielding. News of Hiroshima's destruction reverberated across the globe. For many, it was a revelation of what modern warfare had become. The atomic bomb introduced a new era, one where the sky could burn, cities could vanish in an instant, and human life could be measured in moments. The world watched in shock, realizing that the sun itself could be wielded as a weapon. In Japan, the bombing of Hiroshima became a turning point. It forced leaders and citizens alike to confront the devastating consequences of total war. Just days later, Nagasaki would face a similar fate, cementing the atomic bomb as both a symbol of ultimate destruction and a catalyst for peace negotiations. Yet, amidst the tragedy, stories of survival and compassion endured. People who survived the blast often risked their lives to help others. They shared what little food and water they had. They carried the injured to safety. In the darkest hour, humanity shone through acts of courage, kindness, and determination to persevere. Today, Hiroshima stands as a city reborn from ashes, a living monument to resilience. Peace memorials, museums, and preserved ruins remind the world of that day when the sky became a sun. Visitors can see the scars etched into the earth and in the hearts of those who survived. The atomic bombing serves as a solemn warning of the destructive power of war and the enduring strength of the human spirit to rise again. Hiroshima's story is not just about destruction, it is about memory, survival, and the hope that humanity will never again witness such a day. The sun may have burned over the city that morning, but the light of courage, empathy, and resilience continues to shine, illuminating the path toward peace for generations to come.